Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a Q&A, which I haven't done for a very long time. Don't tend to do them that often, but I've got quite a few questions because I asked over on Instagram. So I'm just going to go through as many as I can without this video being too long. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so some of these I've seen and some of them they keep coming through, so some might be a bit of a surprise to me, but I'll try and answer them as quickly and as efficiently as I can. So the top one is very lovely, and it's from a lady called Ashlyn, who I speak to quite regularly over on Instagram, and she just put, "Why are you so awesome? Hashtag mom goals." I mean, I love you, but I'm definitely not awesome. It's a lovely way to open the video though, and thank you. I think that the issue is with social media, it's not necessarily a sense of smoke and mirrors and people only putting their best selves forward. I think it's just a lot of the time on social media, if you are feeling down, you're blue, you're going through struggles, you're shouting at your kids, your washing machine's broke, your roof's leaking, you've forgotten something, you've done a massive fail, you're not normally present on social media because you're dealing with it. That's how I feel anyway. So while I might look alright when I'm having a good day, trust me, I still feel like I'm trying to grow up and I'm not doing a very good job with it. So next question is from Kelly and the Bears. I speak to Kelly quite often as well. Hi Kelly. And her question is tips for working from home with babies. I'm setting up an online art print shop at the minute. I mean, firstly, congratulations, that's amazing, well done you. Secondly, to get right onto the advice, I think my best advice would be to really start to know your routine and be quite firm with yourself when you're having set work hours or days, because initially what I tried to do was that I would try and do everything. I would try and do all of the washing, play with the kids, do the work, do everything that I needed to do in terms of life or house admin and all of that, and I would fail fantastically. So I have to be quite firm with myself these days. Also, maybe just try and reset the way you view your time as well, because initially I used to be very much a 9-to-5 woman. That's what I've always done in terms of work, so I would like my weekends to very much be for relaxing with my family and my evenings for relaxing. When you work for yourself, you've really got to change the way that is. You've got to take a hit sometimes in the evening, which when you're already looking after a child, which is a full-time job anyway, can be quite hard. But just go for it. If it's your passion, it's something you really want to do, you will find a way to make it work for you, and you will be so proud of yourself when you do. Good luck. Next question is from What a Nation, and she says, how do you keep up with kids, work and housework? I constantly feel like I'm behind. I'm behind too. I think that I do have a fairly good routine going. I do similar things day in, day out every week, because I've got kids and they need a routine and they've all got their own commitments that I have to stick to. I am very much a do it as I see it kind of person, so if there's a bit of mess, I will tidy it up. If the house needs hoovering, which is pretty much every day because I'm always trying to get little bits up off the floor so Stan doesn't eat them, I just do it and I try and get on as quickly as I can. I also start first thing in the morning with every job that I need to do, because you're actually most productive in the morning. Even though you've not had much sleep, you're still on it a little bit more in the morning, and that's a proven thing. So I will try and get everything done as soon as I can. So while the kids are eating breakfast, I'm quite fortunate that our kitchen has a little diner bit in it, and there's a sofa. They can watch telly, I can keep an eye on them, but I can empty the dishwasher, I can put a wash load on, I can tidy up a little bit, I can check the calendar for stuff that we've got coming up that week, and I feel like just getting on it as soon as I wake up really helps. Kirsty, mum of 4_SW, who is also someone that I chat to really regularly, she actually lives locally to me, she says, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? I've always had this dream, this was pre-kids, of staying somewhere beautiful in Italy, a place that I really am desperate to explore more, and I would write a book and I would look out on the balcony to the bustling little village or town below, and I would love to stay somewhere like that, purely because I'm obsessed with finding out more about different cultures, and I'm obviously obsessed about food, so I would love to live in Italy. If I had to pick somewhere else, I think that's where I'd choose. So next question is from My Life in Little Squares _ and she's someone that I talk to quite often too. She says, travel plans, have you any holidays booked for this year yet? At the moment, no, just because well, the extension. We're not really sure what we're going to do yet, like how much it's going to cost us, what's going to happen, and it's a bit about spending more money, so we're just trying to take it slow. Like maybe at some point we will book something, but we're just gonna have to see how it goes. And this actually leads on to another question from Beachy Fifi, who says, how are your plans for the kitchen extension and bedroom going? So that's essentially where we're at the moment. We've had to wait because obviously you have to have a certain amount of proof of earnings before you can like extend on your mortgage, and that is what we've decided to do. We're going to remortgage to try and afford it, because ultimately our house is actually quite, it's not small, but it is actually quite compact. It's not like huge on space. We have this big room downstairs, we have the big room at the back, we have a conservatory that we can't use because it's either freezing in the winter or like stiflingly hot in the summer. So that is just a dumping ground at the moment for things that like we either don't have room for, or we need to like rehome or whatever. So at some point we are going to have to either move house or extend our house. It's not just because of a bedroom, it's also for downstairs space, because as the kids get bigger, I mean they're going to be like human size, like adult size, and I think we're just gonna all get like a little bit like too cramped as we all get older. So we are hoping that we can go ahead, because I absolutely love this house so much. It means a lot to me. I love the location, I love like the area where I live, I love being close to family, and I really want to stay here. Next question is from Chris Linner, and I speak to Chris a lot as well. She's so lovely. She always pops up on my Instagram and my YouTube, so hi Chris if you're watching. She says, what are your favourite hobbies? Mine are reading, singing, learning piano and baking. I would love to learn how to play the piano. It's always something that I wanted to do. My best friend growing up was amazing on the piano. She would always play piano and I would sing, and that would be what we did. After school I'd go around to her house and that's what we do, practice Alicia Keys and Delta Goodrem songs and other songs like, what's her name, Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Eva Cassidy. We would do Eva Cassidy's like songbooks a lot because she had some amazing songs that she's covered, and I would love to do that. My passions, as I've kind of touched on already, I absolutely love to sing. I do. I miss it so much. I did it a lot as a teenager and a young adult, but I stopped once I had Bill because it's just time. I haven't got time for that now, so I'm quite content just singing along in my kitchen or in the shower or around the house, and that's enough for me. I also love to read, and I love to take photos and capture videos, so I guess that is kind of what I do. Oh, and cook, and yeah, lots of things, but those are probably my main ones. Next one, in fact I've had a few questions about Slimming World, whether or not I would do it again if I needed to lose weight, how I found it since I've stopped, etc, etc, etc. So I'm actually on the fence at the moment as to whether or not I want to start it again. I'm quite happy in the skin that I'm in relation to, like, you know, my weight and that kind of thing, but at the same time I do remember being happier and just a little bit more confident. Because I have been a lot larger in the past, I have areas of my body that I'm a bit embarrassed of. Can you see like the hang here? It's like excess skin, and then if I do gain weight it like fills up again quite quickly with fat, and I have stretch marks on my inner arms and that kind of thing, and I am a little bit self-conscious of them, and particularly with the warmer weather coming. Well, I say that, it's gone really cold again today. I am toying with starting again. Whether or not I share it I don't know, because I don't know, with being on YouTube you do put yourself out there, but I get quite a lot of comments that come into either like on my YouTube channel or like private messages on Instagram about my weight and my looks, and you know, I try and stay positive about the way I am anyway. I can't change who I am who I am, and I want to be liked for who I am, and if I'm not, that's fair enough. But I'm wary of sharing my weight loss. I'm wary of being like fat shamed and stuff, which I have had even like at the size I'm at now. Like, I'm not perfect, but I don't know, I'm on the fence, and I don't know, and I don't want to slide into becoming like just a weight loss Slimming World channel, because there's a lot more to me than that as well. Do you ever, this is from Nat10_, she says, do you ever feel pressured into posting content or keeping Instagram updated? And the answer is a definite yes. I think that it's a weird thing to do this. I'm so lucky, like it's a huge blessing. I didn't ever think that I would get to spend this amount of time with my children, and for that I am so grateful. But I think sometimes it's just, you know, you share so much, but then there's so much that you don't want to share, or you're not like able to share, or you don't have time to share, or you think it's like a bit egotistical to share. So there's like a level of like, I feel like I've got to say something interesting every day. I feel like I've got to be like the best at this, the best at that, when ultimately, like, if you take away Instagram, you take away YouTube, and you see me in my natural environment, like a nature program, I am honestly just a mum of 3 who's trying to navigate all of this stuff herself anyway. So I think sometimes it can be quite, like, I don't know, like, overwhelming, because you're like, I haven't got anything good to say today, I don't know what to do, and I haven't got the best advice on this topic or that topic, and it can be a bit like keeping up with the Joneses, and that is the honest answer. But do you know what, I think every single person online, no matter how big or small their accounts are, feels exactly the same. Lisa_Woodall21 says, what's your favourite thing to cook? Gosh, you know what, I really enjoy doing a roast dinner for my family. I really enjoy it. It's quite time consuming, but there is nothing more satisfying for me than pulling all of those little components together and plating it up on a plate with a thing. It's like a thing of beauty, isn't it, with big fluffy Yorkshire puddings and like nice juicy chicken or something like that. I just find a lot of joy in making that meal, and I really enjoy the tradition of it and the hope that, you know, like when people say, oh, my mum's roast is the best roast, like, I want my kids to say that about me one day. So yeah, roast dinner. Next question is from Jazz Jones. He says, what was the hardest part about being a single mum? Now, I wasn't a single mum really for that long. I mean, I got with Marc quite quickly, but in terms of like him actually being here as a regular feature in our house and like actually helping with parenting, that didn't come until he moved in like further down the line. That said, I think the hardest thing for me was just, I was so lonely. Like, you know, I had friends and I had family, and like Marc would come and stay like a couple of times a week, but when he wasn't there, I think it was that pressure of, once Bill went to bed, I couldn't leave the house, and, you know, something happened. It was that pressure on me that I found really difficult. And I remember when he was ill and I'd like wake up in the middle of the night with him, and there was, it's not needing help, it's just that, you know, that person to talk to and just say like, I'm worried, what do you think? Or like, I've had a really bad day today, can I have a cuddle? That like connection with somebody else was what I found really hard, because you know, I think we all think that we've done a bad job sometimes as a mum anyway, and when I was on my own, I would worry about that a lot, like, what if I F up, basically, and what if it's all my fault? But I think actually, and you know, like I said, I wasn't a single mum for as long as many people that I know who I just think are amazing. A few of my friends are single parents, and I just think that they are absolutely incredible, and there's nothing like it. Like, they are something else. So the next question is from ngardener23. He says, what are your go-to high street online shops? You always look so well put together. Thank you. I would say that I'm a huge ASOS fan. 90% of the time, if I post like an outfit, you can bet your bottom dollar something's from ASOS. I have Premier. I know my sizing really well in ASOS, and I feel like the quality's really good, and I just find it really easy to find something. I also really like New Look at the moment. Don't know about you, but New Look are really like pulling out the stops at the moment. Quite like M&S for like bras, underwear. I've got some like simple 3/4 length arm sleeve tops from M&S that I love at the moment. And where else? Quite like Zara, but can find it quite overpriced. Oh, I love H&M as well. So those are like my top go-tos. Next question is from Katrina Smith 77. Why have you been quieter on Instagram? I miss you. Bless you. Oh, thank you. I don't know, it's a hard one to answer. I think that nasty comments have gotten to me a little bit recently. They're normally in my DMs, and that can be quite hard, because you go in there and you like try and catch up. It's like really busy, but there's an others folder as well from new people that you've never spoken to before, so I try and go in there, but you don't get a full preview of what's been sent. And sometimes when you go in and you open something and you get abuse for whatever reason, you literally, I will read it and my blood will run cold and my heart stings, and it's just like, I was going in there to try and reply to someone and like connect with someone and chat to them, and it's hard, it's really hard. And I think that I started to lose my confidence. I struggled with like mental health on and off for the past few years, and sometimes I think it's like a self-preservation thing, and I'm trying my best to sort of get back onto it, but sometimes I do just get a little bit scared. And that's the honest truth. I am trying, and just trying to take it all with a pinch of salt, because I am really oversensitive and it's something that I do need to work on. Dem_1999 said, underscore says, how long have you had your house for? I love it, thank you very, very much. I moved into this house when Bill was about 7 months old or something like that, so I think 6 years. And it's been a real labour of love. When I first moved in, oh my goodness, it was an absolute state. It really was. Not like disgusting or anything like that. It was just getting very old and shabby. It needed a lot of replacing of like windows and work doing, and it was all I could afford in this area, so I took it. It was like the biggest house in terms of space that I could afford, and it just needed a lot of work. But you know, 6 years later, we're doing a good job. Shivy P2, who's a lady that I love to chat to. She said a few things. She said, nothing to say, I just wish we were friends in real life. I feel like you're my soul sister. Bless you, thank you. We did get on really well. Like, I talk to her quite often, and she's actually asked, if your kids don't want to be filmed anymore, would you stop weekend vlogs altogether? Yes. I have actually pulled back from doing weekend vlogs as often as I used to, because I think it's good for me to sometimes switch off and not have a camera around with me all weekend. It's more tiring than you think, that thing, like remembering to pick it up and like get nice shots and, you know, make it enjoyable for people to watch. But also I want to give my family a break from it as well, and I want to be like 100% present rather than like 95% present. And also I'm aware that my children are getting older. I don't want to invade their privacy too much. I don't want to embarrass them, God no, but like I love doing this at the same time, so it's a balance of wanting to keep you happy that watch, because I know that my weekend vlogs are some of my most popular videos, but also they're my most important. Like, you'll notice that Marc barely shows up. He must look like a ghost or like he barely exists or something, but he, you know, this is my job, not his, and we've kind of got that agreement where I'm not gonna shove a camera in his face all the time, because I respect him and I love him, and it's just the way it is. So if it ever got to a point where my kids were really unhappy, then of course I would stop. Next question, Jess McKenzie says, who was your easiest child and why? I can only really judge up to one, because obviously I don't know what Stanley is going to be like until like, well, years down the line. I would say that, oh, it's a difficult one, because Daisy went through so much which was really hard for me, but that didn't necessarily make her difficult, if that makes sense. However, she is my feistiest and my cheekiest, but she's also the most full of like joy and laughter. She's great. Bill has always been just, Bill is just, he is easy breezy. He's a very, very lovely person. He's very, very kind, like calm, very good-natured, and he's great like that. Stanley is, he's been the best sleeper, so that puts him up there as like one of the ones that like, go Stan, because I can function. That said, he's had some really bad runs for the last few months. I would probably say my gut answer would be Bill, because it's just his nature. There's not much about him that, he's just so level. He's just like, I'm calm, I'm easy breezy, and he was like that as a baby, and I was very, very lucky actually to have him as my first. Next question, did you have another career prior to YouTube? I love your videos, thank you so much. That's from Alison P. Flug. And my career previous to doing this was, initially I was a business journalist, so I worked primarily in like business magazines, and then I moved on to being a content lead at a digital agency that specified in working with charities and not-for-profits, because that was like, it's an area that's close to my heart. I did a lot of charity work when I was a teenager and young person, and I felt like I could align my skills together to do good and also use my skills effectively. Next question is from Michelle Hoganza, who says, how much does Marc help around the house and with the kids? This is a really good question actually, because Marc's not really on here much, is he? So I don't suppose any of you really know what he's like. Marc is amazing with the kids. He's so much better than me at like playing and just letting go and having fun. Like, we'll all be sat in here, like a Saturday morning is a really good example, and like there will be toys everywhere, there will be absolute state, but they will be laughing their heads off, and he'll be like crawling around with them on his back or like throwing them in the air, and I'll be sat there like, oh my god, I don't know how to do that. Like, for starters, I can't lift any of them because I'll break my back, but he's just so good at it. He always does bath time, because I'm quite honest to say that I don't like bath time. I get hot and sweaty and it like, it panics me. He takes Bill to jiu-jitsu every week, just him and Bill. That was something that they started together, and he's so good at that. He's always been so good at like really firming up his bond with Bill, and like I'm so lucky for him in that sense. In terms of around the house, because I'm here all the time, I do most of the washing and the cleaning. I'm a very clean person, I hate mess. Absolutely can't stand it, and I'm not going to sit here and wait for him to get home to do something that's been annoying me all day. So I like a clean home. I like to run a tight ship in that sense. I do find it hard sometimes, but I take on most of that responsibility. And then I am obviously the cook, like to cook. He does, however, a lot of like the stuff that I hate. So he deals with all of the bills and that kind of thing, because I just don't enjoy doing it, to be honest, and he's really good at that. So he organises everything, like money, that kind of thing. He does like all the manual stuff that I don't like to do, in terms of like tip runs, like sorting stuff out in the garden, like DIY. I'm actually quite proficient at DIY, but I just don't enjoy it. He does all like the furniture building and like dealing with things like that, and we are actually quite balanced. We both empty the dishwasher, we both load the dishwasher, we both wash bits up, we both clean up after the kids. But yeah, so I think it's fairly equal. The next question, in fact I have a lot of versions of this, is in terms of like me and Marc and marriage. So like, do you think you'll ever marry Marc? If not, why? That's from Molly Daniels 21. There's more, there's quite a few, like if you did get married, how would you do it? That kind of thing. So in terms of marriage, obviously like from my upbringing anyway, I've always wanted to get married. It was part of my dream. That's something that I wanted to do. And obviously after I split from Bill's dad, I found that I just kind of never really thought that any sort of new relationship was on the cards for me. Little did I know that I had Marc waiting in the wings, and it was amazing. I was so lucky. But the one thing that he told me right off the bat, he's always never wanted to get married, and his reasons personal to him, so I'm not going to share them on here because it's not fair. But I knew that from when I met him, and I wanted to be with him. I fell in love with him fairly quickly, and I just knew that I would rather have Marc and not be married than say be in a relationship that I was previously that wasn't working out, and we probably would have got married had we had not like made the decision together to split. And I think that, I don't know, my views on things have changed. Obviously if he asked me to marry him, I'd say yes in a heartbeat, because I love him, and if that was something that he wanted to do, then of course I'd do it. But I love him more than I love the idea of getting married. I hope that makes sense. And I don't mean to offend anyone either. Like, I think marriage is beautiful, and if you're married, like, I'm so happy for you. It's not like I don't think marriage means anything. It's just more that he's what I want and I love him. So yeah. Next question is from Harath Chloe. I think I've said that right. And she says, do you wear your hearing aids when you're all bummed up? I've not worn mine for ages now. I feel like I have to wear them these days, in all honesty. I honestly thought for years previous to having them that maybe I like had a little bit of hearing loss, but when I don't put them in now, my world is so quiet, and like there's less vibrancy, and I can hear so much less, and I hate that. So I wear them at every opportunity. They actually ran out of battery on the school run this morning. I was so frustrated because I couldn't hear the traffic as well. I couldn't like hear Suzanne talking to me properly, and I just felt really like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this. I think I've adjusted really well to having hearing aids, and I would definitely say like stick with it and persist with them, because I think they make a huge difference. So that is the end of this video. I really didn't want to ignore any of your questions, so I have done a part 2. I tried to answer as many as possible, and any that I haven't answered is probably because they'll be coming up in like a, you know, like a baby update, for example, like with Stan, because he's turned 1 now. But I will put part 2 of this Q&A up next week as well, so if you want to have a listen and see the answers to my questions, then you can do. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much if you were one of the people that asked some questions today, because I really enjoyed doing this video and I really appreciate you giving your time, so thank you. I'm gonna go and edit now, so have a lovely day whatever you're up to, and I'll see you next time. Bye.